So as was mentioned before the end of the last video, these grounding instructions, these grounding techniques are meant to bring the person you're working with to the moment. When they come in and they're in high distress, their brain's shooting all over the place, it is our job to help calm them down. It's our job to help orient them to our space, to bring them to the moment. That whole spiel at the beginning of our training about us as crisis responders needing to be in the present is so important. And it's important to bring the student to that spot with us. I heard from a really cool guy recently that you put into others what you expect back. And so when you're in the moment and you're using these techniques, the hope, the idea is that they then find themselves in the moment. And it may take 1 minute, 2, or 10. And if you do need assistance, there's always people available, school counselors, administrators, or school psychologists. But this is meant to bring the student to you, to where you're at. You want to meet a student where they're at many times, but there's not going to be any normalization occurring, no reasonable conversations, and or any closure ultimately if we can't help them to eventually stabilize. It's a really good opportunity to help them learn to manage their emotions as well. Okay, so we're moving on to relaxation techniques at this point. These are most useful when students with moderately to significant stabilization or overwhelmness. You can use techniques like breathing, which we've all used before. Belly breathing is a very popular one, where you breathe in, pushing out your belly while you're doing that, and breathe out, helping your belly to expand. And also progressive muscle relaxation. Now these are somewhat awkward when you begin to use them originally because they feel very much like a Pilates instructor helping their class to wind down, or yoga instructor. But clinical research shows that these techniques help the brain calm down. And when the brain calms down due to these techniques and it de-stresses, cognition improves. Okay? So not only does it help us like on a daily basis, but when we're in a crisis situation, our brain is going in a million directions at once. These techniques can help a student to be centered, to feel calm, so that they're not all over the place. Because we need to move forward in crisis response. We need to move forward past stabilization to normalize and then to help them adapt ultimately. Now I do have a caution here. If a student was witness to the event, attempting positive visual imagery, having them close their eyes and imagine a calm place, it may stimulate automatic visuals of the traumatic event. So, when you're working with traumatized students, this is important to note because sometimes simply closing your eyes when you have witnessed something horrible, causes it to flash before you in your mind's eye. And so we want to try to avoid that. So, with students who maybe didn't witness something, then you're okay. If you do attempt this and you find out, oh no, they're having, some sort of negative visions, you don't have to stay there. You can move on to a different way of helping them calm. Okay, so we're quickly going to go through breathing exercise instructions. Here's a script to guide an overwhelmed student. First, picture that you're going around a box or a square, and as you go around the square, you will breathe, or hold your breath, or exhale slowly on the count of 3 on each of the 4 sides of the square. You can use 5 seconds or what have you. Begin by following my voice and now taking 2 deep breaths, filling your lungs all the way down to your belly. Do that 2 times. Let's start to go around the square. Breathe in on my count. 1001, 1002, 1003. Now hold your breath. 1001, 1002, 1003. Now breathe out slowly. 1001, 2, 3, and so forth. Okay? Let's move to this. Yes, I'm kind of cheeky with my image here. It's our box, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in 1001, 1002, 1003. We're going to hold 1001, 1002, 1003. We're going to exhale 1001, 1002, 1003. And we're going to follow the process until we are calm. And it gives it to have a sheet of paper, to have a simple, square drawn on paper is very helpful because having a visual along with our description is quite nice. And so, of course, the idea is to, take this exploding brain that's way too full, it's overflowing, and, bring it back inside the head with these breathing techniques. And finally, now we'll talk about entrainment techniques. This is where you're utilizing your behavior and communications to influence a student behavior. This can be helpful when attempting to calm a loud, agitated, and or frantic individual who's speaking very loudly or uncontrollably fast. I kind of briefly reviewed this earlier, but we're going to go into more detail right now. So if the survivor or the kid who's in crisis is speaking loudly, you would begin by speaking a little more loudly than you would normally. So, but not quite as loud as the person. Then slowly and incrementally begin to lower your volume in order to influence the survivor to lower their volume. I'll do it with this next paragraph. If the survivor is speaking very quickly and loudly, begin speaking a little more quickly than you normally do, but then slowly and incrementally begin to slow your pace or lower your voice in order to influence the survivor's pace of speech. A good example that I can give is with my own children. I've got 4 of them, and my little girls are twin 4-year-olds, and so they will be running fast, and then they'll fall and skid their knee, and I'll tell you, they'll be crying, and they'll be breathing very, very fast. And what I'll do is I will go, and as I'm helping them, as daddies do, I will try to not match their rate of breath, but I will try to increase mine and then have them recognize my pace of breathing and slowly lower my pace of breathing to help them calm down. And you know what it does? It gives them something to concentrate on, and it helps them to follow you because they need that guidance. They need that modeling, and that's basically what this is. It's bringing them down through modeling.